What's up guys, Charles from treetanks-dev, and I'm right now filming on my Canon EOS RP, and I'm first time using this Samyang RF 14mm f2.8 manual focus lens ever for recording my YouTube videos. So in this video I will be doing a very first setup tutorial on a Fujifilm camera, and today we're going to start with my very first gimbal, the Zhiyun Crane M2, and then subsequently I will also be doing the Fujifilm camera setup on the DJI Ronin SC as well as the Zhiyun Weebill S. So not only do I have one Fujifilm camera, I have two Fujifilm cameras, both launched on either side of the decade. This Fujifilm X-E1 was actually launched back in 2012. It's a real good camera for photographs, but not much video capability. But just gonna show you the mounting anyway, because this camera is pretty similar. If you are an old timer for Fujifilm cameras, this camera is pretty similar to the X Pro 1. And recently Fujifilm also released the X Pro 3, so this will probably be the same weight or slightly lighter than the X Pro 3. And this camera was only launched about 7 days ago here in Singapore. It is Fujifilm's entry-level camera called the X-A7. So we're gonna do a setup tutorial on these two on the Zhiyun Crane M2, and take note, Fujifilm cameras have no support on the Zhiyun Crane M2. The Zhiyun Crane M2 doesn't use any cables, but instead uses Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to do connection to your Crane M2. But I believe the only thing that you probably would use the connection for would be the time-lapse features and also pressing the record button and the motion lab. So if you're okay not using any of those features, you can just use it as a stabilizer and to use the gimbal to change in between the different modes on the Crane M2, like vortex mode or go mode or pan follow mode and stuff. So let's get straight to the mounting. Okay, so basically for the Crane M2, very simple. Just need this, your screw, and your quick adjustment plate. So we're going to start off this setup on the older camera, the Fujifilm X-E1. So I'm going to just grab this and just take off the lens cap. This is a 16mm f1.4 lens. It's a really old camera, but still pretty good. So just going to show you what port it uses. It's using a mini USB and also a HDMI port. So we're just going to set it up, loosen up all the screws, the one in front here, the red one over here, and just pull it up. And then we just get that. And also the axis over here, just flip it to unlock it, and we get it in this direction. So that's how you open it up. Then next we're going to get the quick adjustment plate on the bottom screw. So you can see the arrow on the quick adjustment plate. It's actually going to fit into this portion like that. Like that, I'm going to slot it in. So this direction, just put it underneath. This camera's screw is not in the middle of the lens area, is actually more to the right. We can actually use the other screw, the other hole, screw is too much to the right. I'm just going to use the smaller hole and see how that goes. So just screw it in, make sure that it's straight. You don't have to tighten it all the way. Okay, and then we're just going to try and slot it back in. So the joystick will be facing myself, so it's for easier orientation. So just gonna slide it on right now and see how it goes. Yep, so that's a lot better. You can see right now that at least it's not tilting, it's more or less straight. So that's pretty good. So we got that pretty much balanced on this side. So I'm just gonna tighten it for a while. And that looks pretty alright. And then right now it's a little bit front heavy. So we need to adjust the screw at the bottom. You can see the screw at the bottom here. So right now it's front heavy. So I'm just going to shift the whole camera slightly to the back. And there you have it. So just make sure before you tighten the screw below that the camera is actually flushed with the quick adjustment plate. So just going to check it out now. Okay, so once I tighten it, it became a little bit too back heavy, so I'm just going to loosen that and shift this camera a little bit more to the front. Okay, that looks better. So I'm gonna tighten it, make sure again it is flushed. It's pretty much alright, not too bad. It is slightly like 1 millimeter kind of back heavy, so you can make an adjustment. But this camera setup isn't too heavy, so the motors should adjust accordingly. If I look from here, it is slightly off, so I'm just gonna make a slight adjustment and then tighten the screw as much as possible. You can see right now that it clears the pan axis, and then the left to right looks good. I've already tightened it. Now we're gonna do the tilt up. So loosen this knob over here and then just shift it all the way, and looks like we're good. So I'm going to slowly tighten this. It is still slightly back heavy, but I'm just going to tighten this for the moment, and I'm going to just make a small adjustment to make it a little bit more front heavy, like that. And look from this side, still a little bit. Let's make a small adjustment. Yep, so I think pretty much we got it. It looks good right now, so I'm just going to tighten the screw slowly. Make sure that none of the other axis moves. And again, once you tighten it, it becomes slightly off. That's a normal thing for this gimbal, just to let you know. Okay, so we're good. More or less. And now it's back heavy, so we can adjust the bottom. Just shift it slightly forward. Again, once you tighten it, it always starts to go out. Okay, so we're done. Just gonna make sure that the quick adjustment plate is not slanted. It is slanted a bit to the left. So just gonna make it straight and tighten it one more time. It is off again. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And right now we're gonna do the pan axis. Let's make sure everything is balanced properly, and then we're gonna do the tilt. So we're just gonna loosen that. This portion here is really okay. So I think that should be more or less 45 degrees. So just gonna make sure everything is good. Alright, so we're done. So right now what we're gonna do, it is slightly off. We'll just see. Okay, just gonna loosen this and shift it slightly to the left, like 1 millimeter. Sorry, slightly to the left. And we'll see if that works once I tighten this. And just make sure that your camera is straight on the quick adjustment plate by using this as a reference. You can see it from there. Make sure that it's straight. And again, if it's slightly off right now, back heavy again. So this is actually quite normal. Okay, so I just tighten this, tighten below. I managed to shove it all the way to the right, leaving a very small, like 2 millimeter or 1 millimeter gap just over there, and everything looks good. So I'm just going to power it on. And then we're going to power on the Fujifilm camera, the X-E1. I'm just going to skip that. And yep, so right now we got it balanced. Looks pretty good. One way I like to test it out is of course by doing the vortex mode. So in order to get the vortex mode to see if your camera is well balanced, you just need to hit the M button, the mode button over here. You will go into go mode when you double tap the mode button. Then once you're in go mode, you double tap again, and then if you point it forward and you do a roll, if it manages to take the weight, means you're all good to go. So that's pretty good. Looks pretty nice. Yep, so basically for this X-E1, because for the Crane M2, there's no cable to connect your Crane M2 to your camera, and this camera doesn't have Wi-Fi capability, unlike this Fujifilm camera. The X-A7 does have a lot of connectivity in terms of Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and stuff. So if you are having this camera, you know that you only can use it as a stabilizer to stabilize your videos and change the modes and stuff. You cannot use the record button, but you still can change the modes that you want to go in. Like you want to go vortex mode, but you gotta manually hit the record button on the camera itself. Yep, so basically that was the setup on this camera. So right now we're gonna shift over to the Fujifilm X-A7, which weighs in at 455 grams with the kit lens. Alright, so same thing for the X-A7. One thing to take note of is that if you are using the kit lens, when you turn it on, the lens will protrude out. So when you are mounting or balancing the tilt axis, your camera needs to be on. If not, if you balance it with the lenses in and then you turn on your camera later on after doing the full balancing, and then this protrudes out, it will become front heavy. So just take note of that. We'll actually need to power on the X-A7 later on when we are doing the mounting. So same thing as the X-E1, the screw is a little bit to the right. So we can actually use the smaller screw again in this direction with the arrow over here pointing to the right. I'm just going to use a smaller screw. I'm going to screw it in. Just make sure that it's straight, and then you just tighten it, not too tight because we will need to make some adjustments. Your gimbal, your Crane M2, open it up with the joystick facing yourself again and just slot it in. Make sure that your axes are all unlocked, the one at the bottom here and the one at the side here as well. So slot it in. Because there's this metal piece over here, it can't go all the way in. So I'm just going to shift it to the front. Right now it's back heavy and it's front heavy now, so just going to shift it back a bit. Make sure that it's straight, a little bit more to the left on the quick adjustment plate. Make sure the camera is straight. So now it's slightly back heavy, but we're gonna need to press the on button and the lens will protrude out, so that hopefully that would counter the slight back heaviness that we're encountering right now. And the left to right is slightly to the left, so we're just gonna adjust it. You can see once the lens pops out, it is tilting a little bit more to the front, but still a little bit back heavy, so we're just going to shift it slightly in front. Okay, so that looks good. Make sure that it's straight and tighten the screw below. It is, yep, it is straight right now. And then the left to right, we've already tightened it. Right now we're going to do the up tilt. Just loosen this knob here. And then right now it is front heavy, so we're going to shift it back. Okay, so once you tighten this, does it stay? Once you tighten this, well, tighten this, so it's up, or side view, and left to right is good as well. So just right now, I'm gonna do this, and it stays, so that's good as well. So make sure everything is tightened. Okay, and pretty much we're done. Just slightly, a little bit to the right, heavy, but that looks good. So just gonna power this on, and again we're just gonna test it out, see if the axis clears. So that clears. It is a bit slow, but you can adjust the speed, so that clears as well. Looking pretty good. Double tap the trigger button. Okay, so let's go back, and then we're gonna do vertigo. So that looks good as well. It manages to hold up the weight. Alright, so right now I'm on my Fujifilm X-A7 shooting at 4K 24 frames per second. And yeah, so we're just gonna test out the walking, the stabilization shots and all that. So we pan. So how does that look? It's a really nice small setup. This X-A7 is really good for this Crane M2, but the lack of connectivity, if that bothers you, then probably not a good gimbal to have. But if you are okay with not being able to press the record button, then this would be a perfect gimbal. So I'm going to test out lastly the vertical mode. And we're going to try it out. Okay, so we're done, and yeah, basically that's it. Just checking out the stabilization on this Crane M2 with this Fujifilm X-A7 setup. So thanks guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video on my very first Fujifilm camera setup on a gimbal. And on the next video, I'll be setting up the X-A7 on the DJI Ronin SE, which is compatible with the older Fujifilm cameras such as the X-T2 and the X-T3. So will the X-A7, which is relatively new, can it work on the DJI Ronin SE? And then after that, we'll test it out on the Weebill S. So thanks guys for watching. Hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the notifications button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.